Hi everybody, my client's back for an infill and everything is still on perfectly as you can see. So I'm just going to start by removing the gold glitter and the top coat because that is it. She doesn't have any lifting. I can see that straight off the bat because she's only wearing acrylic gel. She's not wearing any gel polish whatsoever, so I can easily see down to the nail. So we made this kind of a ombre, faded, Frenchy, glittery nail. And I think it still looks really pretty, but time to do a touch up and a nail shape correction because it's time. And she's gonna go on a holiday, so we are going to make some beautiful, gorgeous holiday nails. So I'm just going to repeat this process for all 10 of her nails, and then it's time to take off her cuticle tissue using my e-file. Just carefully flicking off that cuticle tissue as always. I really do not want to damage her nail plate. And I always find it very satisfying to see it flake off like that, and very satisfying how clean it looks afterwards. So next I'm going to go in with my rubber base clear and I'm going to apply that on the entire length of the nail, including her new nail growth. And I'm going to give that a full cure of 1 minute. Once that's cured and I've done all 10 of her nails, I'm going to go in with my acrylic gel dark pink. And yeah, it's time to do a touch up. As you can see here, um, it's really growing downward, so I need to add quite a bit of product. Some people say, why not just cut it off and build an entirely new nail? Um, yeah, it's just a matter of choice. The product on her nail is still on really good with no lifting. And it will cost me a lot of product to rebuild the nail. Um, in my opinion, it will cost me more product to rebuild her nail than giving her nail a nail shape correction like I'm doing right now. And also, with not removing every bit of product, I am saving her nail from nail damage. Of course, I would soak it off and be really careful, but still. So, all in all, for me, this is the best way to go. Because it might seem like a lot of product, but if I were to rebuild her nail entirely, I would use more product because I need more product to build the apex of the nail and everything. So at least that product is still underneath. So yeah, and it's a pretty quick way of fixing her nail shape for me. It doesn't take me a long time. Taking everything off and rebuilding her nail would take me longer. And it also saves me from using extra nail forms, which, they don't cost that much, but, still, all in all, for me, this is the better choice. And if she were to have a lot of lifting, a lot of pocket lifting and everything, I would remove the entire nail and build it up from scratch, of course, because I do want to have good adhesion and not have any problems like a week later on or so. So yeah. But whatever you choose to do, it's all good. I'm just doing what feels good for me and for my client, and so should every other nail tech. Just do what feels good to you, and as long as you're not hurting your client or yourself, it's all good, right? So now I'm taking off the inhibition layer, which is uncured product. You don't want to get that all over your client's skin, so just be careful with that. And you definitely don't want it to get onto your skin, so wear gloves, please. And now I'm going to go in with my hand file and do the first basic shaping. This will give me an idea of how thick the nail is and how much I need to remove underneath. If I weren't to do this, yeah, it's very hard to see what needs to be removed and how much I can remove underneath width-wise, because if you've got a wider nail, I need to remove more product over the entire width of the nail, obviously. And if her nail's slimmer, I shouldn't remove that much. So yeah, for me, this is easier to see what needs to be done. Plus, it already removes a lot of product that's stuck underneath that needs to go anyway. And right now, I'm making sure that those lower arches are coming out really straight. Very nice like that. And as you can see, her nail is starting to come together. And as you can also see, there's not a lot of product I need to remove on top, because everything that I've removed is underneath. And as you will see later on with filing away the excess product underneath, you will see me only removing the clear part basically, which is a very thin layer of the nail. So most of the product will still be on her nail, which makes me choose this method, like I already told you, because I think it saves me a lot of product from applying to the nail and rebuilding the nail. So first I'm going to do the correction underneath, because sometimes I mess up with my e-file a little bit. It then, I don't know what happened, but it will just fling over the nail on top of the nail, basically like underneath right now. And then I will damage the top side of the nail, which I don't want. So I will do that part later on. Yeah, so as you can see, there's not a lot of product that I am removing. I just had to get rid of something there. Yeah, not a lot of product. It's just bringing in that C curve again. And the only product that's being removed basically is the clear part, which wasn't a lot. And also this way I can instantly clean underneath her nail and make sure that everything is nice and crisp again and clean. And also sometimes nails will start to lift underneath because of weather or use or not using cuticle oil or whatever. This way I can also remove any nail that's come off or lifted off of the artificial product. So I'm carefully taking that off, making sure that I'm not touching her skin. Well, at least not that it will start to burn and everything. So not a lot to do here. Also getting in there, getting that C-curve back, and making sure that everything is nice and smooth. And I'm also looking at the lower arches, that they're nice and thin. On that right side, it's still a little bit thick, so I need to remove a little bit more, but very carefully because, you know, the nails still need their strength. But yeah, also looking at those lower arches, that they are nice and thin. You know, it also feels good for your client. If they rub their nails under, if they rub their fingers underneath the nails, it will feel really nice if it's all nice, thin, and very well shaped. So just some product removal there. And for me, this is a really satisfying process. I don't know what about you guys, but I really like this process too. And I always apply a top coat underneath when I'm done, because that will make it feel nice and smooth, which is also really nice for your client. But again, if you're doing this, just be really careful with your client's skin. You could touch it a little bit, of course, but you shouldn't be touching the nail, the skin I mean, like constantly, because it will really hurt and burn your client and damage the skin also. So you don't want to do that. So this one needed a little bit more. And just again focusing on those lower arches, that they are nice and thin like that, and getting that C-curve back in. Just gently using my e-file to make sure that everything is on point again. And just carefully making my way, moving along those lower arches. Try not to stay too long in one place, especially near the skin, because I really do not want to burn my client. And I don't want to damage her hyponychium, so be careful with that too, of course. Same thing with the pinky. Also need some product removal. Not that much. And as you can see, if you're looking at the thumb right now, it's coming out nice and straight. I need to do some touch-ups again, of course, because I haven't filed it completely yet, but it's looking nice and straight. So yeah, fairly happy with that. It will make the design look awesome. And once I've done this to all 10 of her nails, it's time to do some filing on top. I'm going to start off with my electric file because I've already done the basic shaping, so no need for that. So I'm just going to go in and make sure that I can do most part with my electric file, and then just do some touch-ups with the hand file later on. So I'm just bringing back in the apex and getting a nice straight shape in. And it's coming along nicely. I'm just taking my time, you know. I'm not the fastest nail tech, I'm not the slowest either, but yeah, I just like to take time for my clients and make sure that they get the best of me and go home happy. Almost done, as you can see. Just a little touch up here and there. And then it's time to use my hand file for the finishing touch. This way I can make sure that it's really, really straight and you can see exactly where I've been filing. And by looking at the marks from your file, you can also see where you need to do a little bit more filing to make sure that everything is seamless and yeah, without any lumps and bumps. Of course, you don't want that. It won't look good. So just carefully making my way around the nail. Almost done. Looking from the side profile, just a little bit there, and we're done. Now I'm gonna get some rubber base clear on there. And I'm gonna use that so I can pick it up with a nail art brush and create a lovely French, because we've picked out a unicorn chrome and we're going to brush in that chrome onto the tacky layer of the rubber base. So it's not going to be chrome, but it's going to get that lovely chrome shimmer effect. If you're looking at a chrome, you know, while it's sitting in the jar, that's what you're going to get. And that is also a very, very nice look to wear. So yeah, you can use chrome in multiple ways. So I'm just picking up the rubber base there and getting that smile line in. Carefully making that French, making sure I've covered everything, all the side walls, making sure that I didn't have any lumps and bumps. Applying this, just getting it smooth. And once I've cured that, I can go in with my chrome powder. And like I said, it's a unicorn chrome, very lovely. I'm just brushing that in. And of course, it's shiny, but it's not chrome shiny. It will still have that shimmery effect which I think looks really good. Of course, you could have done this with a French, but I wanted this soft, shimmery look. Look at that. Very, very, very pretty. Just dust it off with a soft brush. So if you use a hard brush, you're gonna damage the chrome powder, of course, which would be such a shame. And when that's done, it's time to top coat everything. And I'm using my Top Gel No Cleanse. So I'm just gonna do this nail first before moving on to the other nails. Also because I don't really know yet what I'm going to do exactly. I've got this basic idea in my head, but it still needs to come alive onto her nails. So that's why I'm choosing to do her thumbs first. And you know, they have to be done anyway, so it's fine. Getting some bling out. And I've got some lovely whitish purple bling. I think it would look really good with the chrome. And I'm going to create a flower around the bling. So grabbing one, sizing it out. If I think it looks good, if it needs to be a little bigger, then I'm going to apply my nail art glue, and I'm going to get that bling on. She's going to give it a quick cure, and then I'm going to go around it with my acrylic mega whites. So just grabbing a bead, and it's been quite a while since I've worked with acrylic, but I really like working with acrylic, but you know, it doesn't happen all that often anymore. So I was very pleased to see that I've still got it. You know, in the end, it's just all about keeping calm and just taking your time, right? Don't fuss, don't be scared, just do it. It'll be okay. And you can always start over. You can always take it off and just start over and redo it, you know. As long as your acrylic isn't hardened yet, you can still take it off and just start over. No biggie there. But I didn't have to. So that's leaf number 1. And leaf number 2. I'm just getting that 3D shape in there because I really like that look that your leaf has multiple what do you call it, like 3D aspects to them, just not one push in the center but also 2 on the sides. Yeah, I think that looks really good. And this way it also seals in the stone. If I weren't to do acrylic around it, I would seal it in with a top coat. Otherwise, you know, it wouldn't last that long. But now it's being sealed in with acrylic, so no need for that. And again, 2 pushes at the sides, 1 push in the center, making that point. And then that's leaf number 3. Very pretty, at least we think. And there you go. The last leaf and our flower is done. Very pretty, I think. And now it's time to go on to the rest of the nail. So I'm going to apply my rubber base clear here too on the pinky. It's going to be entirely covered with chrome powder, and I've already created 2 Frenchies, and I'm going to leave her ring finger bare because she's going to get a larger flower on that one. And now again, time to brush in the chrome powder. It's just such a soft and lovely look, I think. And the pinky will be covered entirely with this powder. Very pretty, very lovely. And once that's done, these nails are going to be top coated. And then it's time to do some 3D nail art again. So just a little bit of nail art glue to stick these crystals in, and I'm going to secure these stones with acrylic later on, so I just need a little bit because of course I'm going to build a lovely 3D flower around it. And I just love the shimmer in these crystals, that lovely blue and white, very pretty I think. So need a couple smaller ones just to get with this larger crystal because I want to get that elongated flower shape, which I think is really pretty. And once that's done, I can give it a full minute cure. And now it's time to create a 3D flower, just a small one on this now. So I'm just taking my time, getting rid of any excess monomer that's stuck in the powder, and then creating that lovely petal shape. I'm being really careful not to touch her skin because I don't want that, but I still want that 3D effect like I talked about earlier with the ripple effect in them. I really like that. Second bead, getting it on there, wiping away any excess monomer because the bead is wet enough. I don't want it to be more wet than this because it will be very hard to work with. And just making that lovely point at the end. And also, once the bead starts to dry, if you brush the bristles of your brush inside the flower will also get the details from that brush inside its petals, which I think looks really, really, really pretty. So I always try to wait until that point where, yeah, I can press the hairs of my brush inside those petals for that extra effect. Really nice. And once I've got this petal on, that one is done. Just lovely, I think. Just really elegant and pretty and ready for her vacation. So, last one, I'm going to create larger beads on both sides, opposite sides of this, yeah, crystal inner circle. So, I'm gonna press it outward, gonna create that lovely shape again, same shape like I did with the other flowers. So 3 pressure points, making that lovely point in it. Time for the second bead. Getting that in, also a larger bead. Same process. You know, some texts can work with 2 beads at a time. I can do that sometimes, but not always. Not with petals like these because I'm very particular about them, and I don't want it to look rushed and not to my liking because I won't be happy. So I'm just taking my time. I'm working petal for petal. And for me, it doesn't matter. It's all good. I do think I worked 2 petals at a time later on, but those were smaller petals with less detail in them. Um, those were the little petals that I'm going to create inside this flower, and I can do them 2 at a time. But like I said, they are a lot smaller and not with that much detail as these petals. So same thing again on both sides. I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between, and it's going to look lovely in the end. At least that's what I think. And this client is always really easygoing. She just comes in, she just sits down, and I'm like, what do you want today? I don't know, just do anything. As long as I've got glitters and a little bit of flowers and stones and whatever, I'm good. So, yeah, that's really nice. And sometimes she's a bit particular with, I want some drawings today, or I want gold glitter or pink glitter. But, that's about it. For the rest, I can mostly do whatever I like. And you see me twisting and turn her hand in all directions. Well, kind of have to, otherwise the petal will look really, really weird because I just can't, make it from a certain angle, and or I will be blocking the video. But those 4 are almost done, so now it's time for those smaller petals in between. And I did do these 2 at a time, I believe. Yeah, I did. But like I said, these were just easy petals, not a lot going on, so I needed to wait a little bit anyway for them to harden a little bit, otherwise they won't keep their shape if you start pressing in them with your brush. And now they will. See, and then it's no problem. Then I can work easily 2 at a time. But those bigger petals, no, not for me. I'm just not quick enough. But you can't be good at everything, right? And the last 2 beads. Getting it in there again. Last one. Wipe away. Twisting her hand again. Got some on those crystals, which, obviously I don't want. And then getting it back into shape. And just press down the middle. Pretty easy, right? That's not a hard petal to do. And again, just pressing it until I'm happy and it's kind of the same size as the rest of them. And this is the finishing results. I am absolutely in love with this set. This is something I would wear myself. Very, very pretty, if I do say so. Yeah, they came out really good in my opinion. So I really hope you've liked this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I wish you all a very good day. Goodbye.